the order of 30 different governmental and non-governmental organizations that use that facility. For example, you can apply you can apply for and receive WIC, Women, Infants, and Children Nutritional Support. If that facility were not there, then people would somehow or other have to get to downtown Vancouver to the social services that the county makes available there. Another thing that goes on over there is that they have guided play sessions with parents and children, especially young children, and especially inexperienced parents, in which they actually teach parents how to play productively with their children. That may seem like something that should be obvious, but I can promise you it's not. Again, in order to make those services available to local residents, the number 92 bus is about the only way that they would have to do that, because they don't have, many of them don't have the resources to drive. You'd be stunned by the number of people who walk in there. There's also some county mental health outreach that's done there, that if it were not for that facility, again, they would have to go probably to the Clark County Department of Public Health over on 4th Plain. The building is a tremendous service for people in need. I don't know any other way to say it. And the Children's Home Society, the building is open, now I can't remember, I think it's open 9 to 5, 2 days a week, and 9 to noon, 3 days a week, but I may have that backwards. But typically they provide 3 full-time staff over there, which $7,500 doesn't begin to touch. I would encourage you to go over there and spend some time and look and see what it is that they do over there. I think we're getting quite a bargain.
And I would chime in and just say, Councilman Greenlee, I have spent time over there. Matter of fact, I've taken my children to that play group that was offered, but is no longer offered anymore due to federal cuts. I have been over to that building and have seen firsthand how those programs are utilized. Many of those programs are duplications of things that are already provided through charities that already exist in our community. I'm just trying to get at the point, it boggles my mind where this $7,500 is going to and why we're paying it, and $1 a year lease on a gigantic building. I don't know how that could be, even for the good services that are provided, how that can be justified. I don't know, and why it's been justified for so long, I can't figure it out.
Dave?
I understand that these services are valuable. Unfortunately, excuse me, they're not the mission of the city, they're the mission of the county. If we need them, we need to get the county to put a service center out here and to fund it. They've got the mission, they've got the resources, and they need to distribute those resources throughout the county, not concentrate them in Vancouver. In addition to that, I think that this act of generosity on the city's part amounts to something which is forbidden in the Washington State Constitution, and that is a gifting of funds. And the fact that we found a legal way to do it through contracts doesn't change the fact that it's not supposed to be done. It just means we found a legal loophole to get around the Constitution and the will of the people of the state of Washington. And so I'm not in favor of this.
Mr. Mayor. In regards to the discussion about whether it's the appropriate role of the city to provide the service or not, or the gift of funds, I did want to add a clarification from my understanding. The Washington State Constitution actually does allow for gifting of funds in the case of, as two phrases. Foreign and firm, thank you. And so in that sense, it can actually be considered a legal justification. Some of the delicacies of deciding whether or not this falls under that specifically may have to do with whether we think the programs specifically offered at the center are geared toward just the poor and the infirm, or whether they're just a general society thing. And I agree with a lot of council members' comments with regards to whether it's our job to do that. But with regards to that, I've got a question. Do we have an interlocal agreement with Clark County to provide social services in Washougal by any chance? Do we know? Or any mandate from them? Because I noticed that the name of it is the East County Social Services Center, is what it's technically called.
Right. Some of the history on this, I'm not real familiar with, but I do recall that I think we originally got the building through a CDBG grant. And I know a lot of the remodeling that was done over there, around about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, was through a CDBG grant. So there may well be some strings that still attach from that grant that would require us to, at least from the lease perspective, to keep it online for use in some capacity.
It'd be good for Jennifer to explain what the restrictions are on the use of the building that are tied to the grant.
Point of order. We haven't seen this document then, this grant? It's not. Okay.
Yeah, it hasn't. It's not a recent action of the council.
Right,
It was
right.
a
I'm saying if we're
previous
still
action.
being governed by it, I think it would be important to have it in our packet of information as well. So,
I can get you a copy of that. In 2005, we received CDBG funds to remodel the building, and it had a 20-year clause on it that the building has to be used to benefit the same sort of social services for 20 years. So until 2025, I believe, is the term of that.
is there a dollar amount attached to that? I mean,
It was the cost of remodeling, which was probably, I think it was over $200,000 that we received in CDBG funds, so we would have to repay that, I believe, if we were not to use that building for
no.
purposes.
What I'm saying is, that, right now we're only charging them $1 to be in there per year. Is that a fixed cost? That we can only charge them $1, or is it possible to come to them and say, hey guys, can you pitch in at least $1,000 a month, or
Right.
what have you?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can get you a copy of that CDBG document.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor? What would be the consequence of us not passing this tonight? Is there a specific consequence for that?
Not that I'm aware of.
It wouldn't give us a vehicle beginning next year with which to remit the $7,500 that was appropriated. So you'd have an appropriation that would be unremitted.
For some period of time.
For some period of time until there was resolution one way or the other. That the companion agenda bill 18610, which is the lease agreement that Councilman Russell's been, and you all have been referring to as well,